Hey guys, JK Wargames, and today we're going to do a review for Gregory Smith's Interceptor Ace, Daylight Air Defences over Germany 1943 to 1944. This is a game by Compass Games. I've not had a Compass Games game before, so really excited about this one. So in this game you take the role as a German fighter pilot, and your role is to shoot down B-17 bombers or B-24 bombers and drive off the escorts as well. So this has got a nice little system where you're going to upgrade your pilot and earn points. So without further ado, let's have a look at the components. So guys, the main components in the game, you've got your rule book, you've got your player charts, you've then got your game mats and combat mats, your main base map and your pilot's track. And you also get 2d6, a 1d10 and a 1d20, and then you get a load of these log sheets. And when I say a load, I mean a load. There's tons in here, enough to keep you going for ages. And basically when you play a mission, they're called a sortie, and you're going to write down the name of your pilot, the name of the plane you're flying, what targets you've got, and how many kills, etc. you've got. So let's move these player aids out the way without moving everything. So these are really nice, good thick card. So you've got a raid chart, and these are double-sided aircraft target chart. This is interception chart. Then you go on to skills, random events, fighter interception target chart, and then you've got your damage chart and available aircraft. Then you've got your rule book, which is full color, really nice, easy to follow. Everything you need to know is in there, including optional rules. And then if we move this up here, this is our main player map. So you've got combat cards, which we use in combat. This is our pilot track, where we track his experience points and his ranks. And up in the left corner here, you're going to roll for weather before each mission, and then it tells you a sequence of play and other bits and bobs on there. So let's have a look at the cards. These are full-size poker playing cards. Really, really nice. Basically, when you conduct combat, you're going to flip one of these cards and look at the numbers. And depending on your firepower is what damage is going to be caused. So if you had a firepower of 12, you would do group damage, which I'll explain later. 16, you would destroy it. An 8, group damage. And a 4, if you see a number, that's 4 random hits. Defense is when you're using wingmen, and then the bomber, when they fire back, you're looking at this bottom part of the card. So you can see they're all different. 0 hits, 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. So those are the playing cards. They're really nice. And you also get ace pilot cards. Now, you don't have to use these. These are optional. But basically you can start the game with one of these and you'll get more prestige points, and you'll take his name, and so you're going to carry on with that ace's career and try and progress even more. So you can see this ace here, he had 133 kills. That's amazing. So then you get your counters, and you get loads, and I mean loads, of different aircraft. So you can see here FW190A7, FW190A5, loads of different variations. And if you go through them all, look, there's tons. You start getting into BF109s, you get BF110s. There's just tons in here. There's so many, and basically as you go through, you're going to earn prestige points, and you can use those prestige points to buy new aircraft. So what we're going to do is I'll take you through one little mission, show you how it works, and then we'll sum up with my final thoughts. Okay, so at the start of a new campaign, you're going to roll a 1d20, and this is going to tell you what group you are part of. So if we open the rule book, you're rolling on this chart here. So basically a 1 to 23. And let's say we rolled a 6, that would mean our aircraft available are an FW190 A4. And then it tells us our base and our starting zone. So we take an FW190 A4, and this is our counter, and basically we put that in the hangar on our base. There's a little hangar box here. Then we put our base zone, where we are, and the group we are with. Then we'd write down on our log sheet, we're a BF109, we're going to put a pilot's name, whatever you want to put down. Next, you're going to roll 2d6 for the weather. So we roll 2d6, we roll a 3. On a 2 to 10, the weather is good. If you roll an 11, it's poor, and if you roll a 12, it's bad, but it's good. So we move the counter into the good box. Now, weather only affects you when you're landing. So if you've got poor or bad, you're going to have a harder time landing. The next thing we do is roll on the raid chart. So we're seeing where the bombers are going to be conducting their raid. And we get this chart, and we're going to be rolling on this chart here because you start off in March 1943. So we roll 2d6, we've rolled 3, 4, 5, and on a 5, Laurent Port. I probably butchered that, but there you go. So we can now conduct our mission. So what we'll do is we'll zoom in to this player map down here. So here is the player map. Now, because we rolled for a French base, our aircraft is based in a French base. If we rolled another destination, they would be in those bases. But we now place the FW190 onto the French takeoff space, and we move to the raid box. So the first box is in France, and we move into that box. Now in that box is a picture of a bomb, and in this box. That means the bombers still have their bomb loads attached, and they could explode if you get a bomb bay hit. This symbol here is for flak, and if this means the bombs have been dropped, but the bombers could be damaged by flak. So we move into this box, and the first thing we do is roll to see if we intercept the bombers. Again, it's a 2d6 roll, so we're going to roll. We've rolled 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we find the interception chart, which is here, which I can't fit in. Here we go. On a 7 is a head-on, so that means we have met the bombers head-on. But we now need to see what type of bomber it is, so we roll 1d10, we roll a 5, and then we look at our target type, which is somewhere here on these charts. I can't find. 1943, we rolled a 5, and 1 to 7 is a B-17. So we've contacted B-17s. So what we do is now we move to the combat chart and conduct combat. So here we have the combat chart. So the first thing that happens is we get the B-17, that's the wrong one. We get the B-17 counter, and we place it in the head-on position in the bomber combat box. We then take our counter and place it in the long-range box. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to do 3 phases of combat. We're going to do long range, medium range, and close range. But at any time you can peel off. If your fighter's taken a lot of damage and you think, oh, we're close to being shot down, you can peel off, go and land. So it's about decisions. So the first thing we do is look at our firepower. So on your battle board, you've got your weapons here, if we just bring these counters out the way, you can see that our MGs 151s have 6 ammo, and these are double-sided, these ammo counters, so 2 on one side, you flip it and it's got a 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then our MGFF can have 2 ammo, so he gets 1. Every time you take a shot in combat, you will flip this counter. So that goes to 1. This one would flip as well, because you're shooting all your guns at the same time. So before you flip a card, you're going to add up your firepower. So we've got a firepower of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have a firepower of 12. Now, once ammo is used up, if you use all these ammos, you would only have a firepower of 2 because these 2 guns have been used. So, we've checked our ammo, we're at long range, we're going to take the first shot. So we're taking the first shot at long range. So, we flip a card, this is for our fighter, and we look at 12 because our firepower is 12, we get a group damage result. So, we have to make a decision if we're going to attack the airframe or the port wing or the starboard wing. For this example, we'll attack the airframe. Then we move to the airframe chart and see what damage is applied to the bomber. So you can see here, the controls take 1 damage, the airframe takes 1 damage, the gunner takes 1 kill, and then we roll for 2 random hits. So what we do is we go to the bomber chart and we apply damage counters to each part of the aircraft. So this is the damage chart, and I'm just going to zoom in here. So you can see port wing, starboard wing, airframe, control surfaces, fuel tanks and crew. First of all, the control surfaces took 1 hit, so we place a damage counter in there. Now if they had another control damage, that moves down. And if one of these damage markers gets into this box with a cross, that bomber has been destroyed. So that took 1. The airframe took 1. And we'll say the port wing took a hit as well. And then we have to roll 2 random hits. And there is a chart for the airframe or wing, and remember we chose the airframe, and you would roll 2 on there. So let's say that gave us a port wing and another airframe hit. So we've caused some damage. Now at long range, you are going to, if you do any random hits, you are going to do -1 random hits. So you'd only do 1 of those random hits, not 2. So now is the turn for the bomber to fire back. So now the bomber's firing back at us, and the only part of the card we look at is this bottom part here. So they're going to do 2 random hits to our fighter. So at long range, if we are a BF-109 of any type, they will do -1 damage, but we're an FW-190, so it's going to be 2 hits. So how damage works for a fighter is you roll 2d6, but 1 dice is the 10s and the others is the singles, so the black dice will be the 10s. So roll a dice, we've got 54. We then look that up on the fighter damage chart, and if you look at 54, that's a minor damage. And if you look here on the notes, a hit against any system not present is minor damage, no effect. A minor damage is no effect, so the first hit done nothing. Second hit, we roll a 46, and a 46 is our forward guns. So one of our forward guns has been taken out of action. So our forward guns have been taken out of action. We have to decide which ones have been taken out, so we're going to roll a dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we roll a dice, it's a 5. So it's the top ones, the forward guns, they are gone. Now the reason they don't have any ammo is they are just considered to have unlimited ammo. But because that's been taken out, that 2 is taken away from our firepower. So we now only have a firepower of 10, not 12. Okay, so that's the 2 hits done by the bomber. Now we move on to the next part of combat. And the next part of combat is moving to medium range. So our fighter moves into medium range. Now note here there's a +1 random hit for a B-17 that is in formation. Now a bomber is always in formation unless a result says otherwise. So what we do is we flip another card, we cause more damage, the bomber shoots back at us. Now, one thing to note, if a bomber takes a gunner hit, you're going to place one of these counters next to the gunner hit box. But combat is simultaneous, it's at the same time, unless you get an advantage state or you use a skill. So this gunner hit is going to -1 off a random hit, but the turn in which you do it, it doesn't apply. So if we got a gunner hit in long range, when we move to medium range, this now comes into effect. So this bomber, when they do fire at us, it will be 1 less random hit, and that can go up and up. So we'd do that, the bomber would fire back at us, and if we hadn't taken any serious damage, we can then press into close range. And as you can see, we now get +1 random hit if we do any random hits, and the bomber gets +2 random hits. So close range is dangerous, but it's a choice you've got to make. The aim of the game is to get, as many kills as you can. Once you get 1 kill, you're going to get an award. Once you get 5 kills, you become an ace. And an ace means that you get a +1 for initiative when you do combat against fighters. And then you're going to get, every time you get an award, you get a prestige point. And then every 4 sorties you fly, you get an experience point. And experience points can be used to get skills that will help you to be a better pilot in the game. So this is how combat works. Let's have a look at our player track. So just like a bomber, our fighter can take damage. And again, if the damage reaches a box with a red X, then the fighter has been destroyed. So in this example, we've got a damage on the port wing. If we got another one, it would move into that box. And if it moves into the red cross, fighter's destroyed. Pilots can also get light wounds and serious wounds. Now, if they have a serious wound, after the sortie, you're going to roll to see what effect the serious wound has had on the pilot, and you're probably going to miss a certain amount of sorties during your campaign. Also, pilots can be shot down. If you get shot down or killed in action, you do not want to be killed in action, because that is your campaign over. Your pilot's life is ended. That's game over. But that gives that tension in the game of every mission could be our last. So do we press in? Do we keep trying to kill more bombers, or do we break off and go back to base? So it's a really nice little design. So now what happens is, let's say we've taken enough damage, let's say we're close to getting shot down, we then go to the landing box. We break off combat, we don't want to fight any more combat, and then we roll for landing. So you'd roll 2d6, we roll a 4, we look at our landing chart, and we can see a 2 to 12 is a safe landing. There are modifiers, so if your controls were hit, or you were doing an emergency landing, or we had a serious wound on the pilot, could all affect it. But it was a safe landing. So we've landed back at base. We then put on our log sheet how many kills we got, if we got a prestige point, etc. And that's basically what you're going to be doing in the game, is rinse and repeat. You're going to be rolling for a raid, going up. If you don't, the thing we haven't spoke about, if you don't intercept a raid in the first box, you're going to go to the next box. But the minute you do intercept, you're going to conduct your combat, and you can fight for as long as you want to, really. But eventually you're going to take damage or run out of ammo, so you're going to have to break off. thing I haven't touched on is fighting against fighters, but I'm going to do some playthroughs of this game so you'll see how that works. It's slightly different. It's got an initiative system, an advantage and disadvantage and tail. So this review would be far too long if we'd done that, but take it from me, it's great fun. So that is the system. Roll for weather, roll for a raid, intercept, get as many kills as you can, land, try not to get shot down or killed in action. And there's this addiction of, I want more prestige points, I want more experience points, I want to get the best skills, I want my officer to go up, and so on. And that is where the gem is in this game, because you could say, oh, this game is a bit repetitive, but it's a game against yourself. How far do I push it? Do I go for another attack? Do I go for another pass, or just be happy that I've got that one kill? Let's go and land, and we're safe. And I really like that. So let's go and have a look at the pilot track. So this is our pilot track, and this is where we track how many prestige points we have, how many experience points we have, and what skills we have gained. Now, every time a pilot gets an award, he's going to receive a prestige point. So for each award, you get a prestige point. And with prestige points, you can purchase new planes. So with one prestige point, I could upgrade to a FW190, a slightly better type of that plane. But I can use 2 prestige points to move to a different series. So I could use 2 prestige points to get a BF110, etc. Once you get 1 kill, you're going to be awarded an award. Once you get 5 kills, you become an ace. Once you get 20 kills, you get a cross award, and there's lots of awards that go on. So again, like I've said, that is where the fun lies in this game of I want those awards. I want my pilot to do better and better. And when you get towards the end of June 1943, you roll to see if your pilot is promoted from his rank. So you could go from a lieutenant to an officer, etc. So that is definitely something I really appreciated in the game, is that thing of, I keep pushing it in a mission, and I got through to just towards the end of June, and my pilot got killed in action, and he couldn't get promoted. And that was really like, I should have just landed. I shouldn't have gone for that last pass on that bomber. So yeah, let's now sum up with my final thoughts. So my thoughts on the game are, as I always say, it's a fantastic game, but I do have just one negative, which is the counters. I think the quality could be slightly better, considering that Compass Games do charge quite a lot for their games. I'm happy to pay that because I love my war games, but some of the counters slightly small and could be better quality, but it doesn't take away from the gameplay. So it's a personal thing. It depends how much you like quality encounters. They're not unplayable at all, but there's cheaper games that have better counters. Apart from that, everything else is spot on. Really enjoyed the rulebook. The player mats are fine. They, great graphics. Some people could say that, these could be proper boards, but no, I don't think they need to be. So if you haven't played a Gregory Smith game, then you're missing out, because I really, really enjoyed this one. Anything to do with World War II air combat, and I'm there. So yeah, thumbs up for me. So if you enjoyed this one, guys, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.